Trump strikes back. Hillary Clinton woke up this morning to bad news from the State Department. The State Department has now opened an inquiry into the mishandling of classified information by Hillary Clinton and her aides. Clinton and her staffers still have security clearances. They are now under investigation and could be revoked. Watch the video below. Why do Hillary Clinton staffers still have security clearance?
Well, prosecutors are not neutral. Prosecutors are not judges. Judges are neutral. Prosecutors believe that their targets are guilty and that their job is to find the evidence to prove the guilt or to drop the case. So though I respect and often agree with the Speaker, I see this differently than he does. You're never going to find a prosecutor as neutral as a judge. Such a person would be a poor prosecutor. They are aggressive, they are determined, they enjoy their work, they believe they're defending the Constitution, and if you're in their crosshairs, they're going to find a way to convict you or they're going to let you go.
But don't you think there's an issue with the fact that Mueller is best friends, or, he was apparently attached at the hip with Comey at the FBI. Comey's the star witness against Trump. Don't you think that's kind of crossing the line?
No, and I think you'd be surprised to learn how many times that actually happens. I find myself in an awkward position defending all of this because I have a lot of issues with the idea of an entity in the government that is free to do what it wants and is not responsive to the will of the people, like Bob Mueller. But to your question, which is a good one, because a lot of people are concerned about this, prosecutors often use the same cops and the same FBI agents in their cases, and they develop relationships with them. And it's extremely common that the prosecutor knows the witness and can vouch for the witness's credibility. Again, the standard of ivory tower aloofness is for judges, not for prosecutors.
How about this? Former Homeland Security Secretary Jay Johnson, and he's going to testify publicly later today in front of the House Intelligence Committee. This after meeting behind closed doors with the Senate Intelligence Committee last week. In his pre-released statement, Johnson said that a candidate claiming the election was rigged as his reason for going public with the Russian election hacking claims. Is he opening up the Obama administration for more criticism?
You know, the Obama administration is subject to tremendous criticism, including the potential criminal investigation of the behavior of Loretta Lynch as Attorney General, based on the allegations by Jim Comey, and I'm going to guess that there's more there. That is for the Justice Department. That's for regular justice, for Jeff Sessions' Justice Department. That's not necessarily for Bob Mueller. I don't know what Jay Johnson's going to say, but I don't think it's going to be good for the Obama administration.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much here. Number one, Loretta Lynch is meeting on the tarmac with Bill Clinton, and then she asks Jim Comey to call the investigation into Hillary Clinton a matter, not an investigation. That screams obstruction.
Can we talk about Susan Rice unmasking and everything? I mean, so this administration, I mean, the last 6 months of this administration, it's tramping and setting it up. It's unprecedented.
All of this started, where we are now is 6 investigations of the President of the United States, one of which can indict people around the President. The President can't be indicted, but of course he could be. I don't think it's going to happen, but he could be impeached. All of this started when Susan Rice, I'm assuming it was she, somebody in the West Wing, unmasked a conversation surveilled by the NSA between General Flynn and Ambassador Kislyak, and they released just portions of it. That's what started this cascade of investigations against the president.
Rand Paul said that he was spied on. Lindsey Graham said that he was spied on.
Right.
And little by little, we see all of this other stuff. I have a huge... Go ahead.
And it wasn't in the purview of job, so it's not like this was in the day-to-day responsibilities and duties of Susan Rice. It was just like, hey, I'm Susan Rice, give it to me.
Kevin, I'm going to raise your blood pressure even more.
Okay, thank you.
Where are the documents that evidence the unmasking? In the Obama vault in Chicago in preparation for entry into his presidential library, secured
so they
for 5 years.
From the National Security Council to the Obama Library. Why?
They were requesting under a Freedom of Information Act, and they didn't have them.
The president has the authority to do that, but Bob Mueller and the Congress can subpoena that, and he'd have to either comply with the subpoena, former President Obama, or send lawyers to a court to say why he shouldn't have to comply with the subpoena, and a judge will decide.
Wait, and then there's more.
Yeah.
Wait, and then there's more.
What more would there be?
Then to this. Fox News has learned that the State Department has opened a formal inquiry into whether former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton and her aides mishandled classified information during her time in office. And get this, despite that investigation, she is still under investigation. Clinton and her staffers still have security clearance. In other words, they get updates. They get the sensitive government information regularly. She still has security clearance. Explain this.
Nearly a year ago, July 5, 2016, when Jim Comey held his famous or infamous press conference saying, we're not going to indict her because she was extremely careless, but by the way, here's all the evidence we found against her. What he articulated at that press conference 11 months ago is solid grounds to strip her of her security clearance. Guess who can do it? Rex Tillerson, one of her successors as Secretary of State. What is he waiting for? What does she need? What does a person who is extremely careless with state secrets doing, still having those state secrets today?
Well, he laid out the indictment just as you said, but the problem is that you've got a State Department that has career bureaucrats that are in there that are aligned with Hillary Clinton. And so I think that's part of the issue. I mean,
well, this is a decision that can be made by the present Secretary of State, Rex Tillerson. Look, he's not the political type. He probably doesn't want to get involved in this. He certainly doesn't want his successors looking at him. But the evidence of Hillary Clinton's failure to maintain state secrets is so overwhelming against her. In Jim Comey's view, it's not enough to prosecute. I look at it differently. I think it is enough to prosecute. But in almost everybody's view who has looked at it, it's enough to strip her of her current
anybody else would not have the security
clearance. Why does she have a security clearance right now? She doesn't need it, and this woman just
Michael's right. It is precedent that secretaries of state keep these security clearances so that they can, from time to time, give advice to their successors. But there is no precedent for a Secretary of State having been determined to have misused state secrets at the level that Hillary Clinton did.
Yeah, she needs the privileged information to set up her new foundation, which is going to get political donations, right? I mean, it's like...
How long do you say it's typical that former secretaries of state hold on to clearance?
Yeah.
For how long?
I don't know what the answer to that is, but again, to raise your blood pressure, don't be surprised if Henry Kissinger still has his. Now, different story, different man, different mentality. Talking 40 years ago when he was Secretary of State.
But you make a good point. The fact that Comey came out and said how careless she was with information, that's also asking, raising the question, why is this still happening?
He said reckless.
Yeah,
no, he said extremely careless. Guess what the standard is? Gross negligence. What is the difference between extreme carelessness and gross negligence? Nothing.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Pretty incredible. We'll be watching that one.
Yes, absolutely.
We'd like some updates there, Judge.
You got it.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure,
Judge Andrew Napolitano there.
The inquiry will look into whether Hillary Clinton and their aides violated rules with their use of private email server. Senator Judiciary Committee Chair Chuck Grassley has confirmed that the State Department has a formal inquiry open, according to Fox News. Clinton spokesman Nick Morelli said nothing's been more thoroughly discredited. It's over. Case closed, literally. Really? Earlier this month, Senator Grassley investigated Hillary Clinton and her meddling in a pay-to-play scheme with a Clinton Foundation donor. This new evidence of pay-to-play and special treatment reinforces the appearance that donations to the Clinton Foundation resulted in favorable treatment by Secretary Clinton's State Department, Grassley said. Trump agrees. Trump tweeted, "Crooked Hillary destroyed phones with hammers, bleached emails, and had her husband meet with Attorney General days before she was cleared, and they talk about obstruction. Why is that Hillary Clinton's family and Dems dealing with Russia are not looked at, but my non-dealings are?" That's right. We cannot forget that the Democrats are trying to charge Trump with obstruction of justice. Hillary Clinton bleached, quote, her emails with a program called BleachBit. She also smashed cell phones with hammers. Holy hell, these people have no shame. That's why we need to get this out. If Hillary Clinton and her people have security clearance still, they need to be revoked. That's why every patriot reading this to share this out. We cannot let them keep using them to take down Trump. Absolutely. This is incredible. This shows corruption of the highest level. Let's be real. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching.